You gotta keep on breathing if you wanna make sense of it all. We will not fall.
Props that you might need today: bolster or 2 blocks or 1 block. Dad has already gone down on his back. So we are starting in a supported fish today. So whether you want to use your blocks or whether you want to use your bolster, the bolster goes lengthways down the spine, or you might like to have it widthways, horizontally, and then using a block to support the head. So if you're having your bolster widthways, it kind of just goes over the back of the shoulders, and same with the block. I'm going to actually use the blocks today. And then coming into a nice supported fish. If you're using the blocks, one of them is on the medium level and the other one is on the highest level. So, Ali, I would probably say get the bolster underneath your shoulders rather than your head and neck. So then the block supports your head and neck. So bring that bolster down even further. About here. See where mine is? There you go. That's it. And then the head rests on that taller, higher block. That's it. So we're really opening up the lungs and the chest and the rib cage. Whether you've got your block or your bolster, whichever one, nestle yourself in so that, you know, it's comfortable. We're here for a number of minutes. Now, the legs can stay straight along the mat, or you might like to take your butterfly pose. Soles of the feet come together and the heels aren't too close in towards the body, so that you are comfortable in the hips. Knees are relaxing out to the sides, or you don't have to take your butterfly at all. So take the arms out to the side of you and just let those palms face up towards the sky so that you can start opening across the collarbones, the shoulders, and the chest. And then if you have got bright lights above you, just close the eyes, relax into the facial expression, soften through the forehead, the temples, the area around the eyes, the jaw, and the teeth. And just start to connect to how you're lying there in this posture. What are the feelings that are starting to come up after your day? And you're starting to take those longer, slower, deeper breaths in and out, really giving yourself time and space to just be here and nowhere else. So letting go of the weekend, letting go of what happened today. And really, November was all about connection. And that was connection to yourself, connection to your physical awareness, your body, physical to the consciousness, your mindfulness, your awareness, to your thoughts, your actions, and your words, but also connection with others, because once you feel more connected to yourself, you're going to be much in a much better place to connect with others. As we come towards the end of the month and our theme of connection, really just feel everything that you're experiencing and your sensations here right now. Giving in to the weight of the body. As you exhale, let go of tension and tightness. Maybe you're gripping, holding on to joints or muscles. Really feel the body letting go. Take a nice deep breath in and a nice deep slow breath out, relaxing everything a little bit more. Take the hands to the thighs if you took your butterfly pose, lifting the legs together rather than using the muscles to do that. Take the feet wide of your mat, let the knees drop in towards one another. Bring the hands down, palms face down on the mat by the side of your body. And as you bring the elbows underneath the shoulders, gently press into the shoulders to lift the head and the neck, looking towards the knees. So you're going to still feel that openness across the chest. You're pushing down through the palms, through the elbows, and then you can gently roll over onto one hip. Take your proper way, move that out to the side of your mat, and then gently just roll down onto your back. Fully into Shavasana to experience what it's now like without anything underneath you. Start to feel the softness through the feet, ankles, and legs. Relaxing across the pelvis, the hips, the buttocks, the lower back and the belly. Feeling the spine, the rib cage, relaxing, shoulders spreading out. Relaxing through the head and the neck. And just give the legs a little shimmy and a shake from side to side. So that initiation comes from the hips. So start to wiggle the hips and give the buttocks a little massage underneath you there. That in turn shakes the legs, it shakes the feet and the ankles, and it might even come up to the upper body and into the shoulders just a little bit. Lift the arms up above the head, bring the feet together, big, big stretch. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out through the mouth, bring the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Lengthening the tailbone down the mat. And the knees don't have to be together here. There can be a little gap between them so you're not compressing too deep into the belly. And you can pull the knees to the armpits rather than the chest. So just feel the spine lengthening out, relaxing into the lower lumbar section. And then gently release the hands, place the soles of the feet down as you gently roll over to one side and place your hand down to give you a little press up. And let's come to the back of our mat. Now this again, you can use blocks or bolsters for. This is our wide leg child's pose. So if you need to pad out underneath the ankles, you can do that. If you need to pad out underneath the thighs, you can do that. If you want to use your props, you can. If you don't want to use your props, that's also an option. So if you're using your bolster, place that down in front of you. Hands are in front of the bolster, and maybe you're turning the cheek to one side. And if you're not quite meeting the bolster, remember you can fill the space underneath it by placing two of those blocks. So here we give in to a different type of gravity where we're face down. rather than being face up in that supported fish. Notice that we've moved from a back extension or a very passive back bend into almost a forward fold and a light flexion of the spine. So as we change postures this evening through the practice, notice any differences as you go into a different asana, a different pose, a different posture, whatever you want to call them. Noticing how the body responds, reacts, again, the sensations, everything that you feel. That keeps you present, as does your breath anchor you into that moment. If throughout the hold you feel that you can or want to go deeper, taking away your props gets you closer to the ground. With Yin Yoga, the art is of stillness and working towards an edge. Knowing yourself, knowing your body and its limitations. Putting yourself into a place where you might feel some challenge. Definitely not discomfort or pain. That's why the props help us so much. And now taking a deep breath in. And that deep exhale out, last one to release fully before moving. So again, taking your time to come out of the postures is as important as the time that we take to get into them. So if you've still got those props underneath you, peel yourself away and then lift yourself up and move those props out of your way so that you can then come up into your tabletop position. So bringing the knees nicely in line with the hips. Wrists are underneath the shoulders. Just take a moment to pause as we've come out of that child's pose, really allowing the back to respond. And then maybe start to introduce some gentle and slow cat and cows. And again, this is all about the sensory connection into how the spine is moving with the breath. Breathing in for your cow, breathing out for your cat. And then from your cow position, keeping that gentle arch through the lower back, we're going to slide the hands forward nice and carefully. We're going to keep melting the chest, keep the hips nice and high. Just come into your melting heart pose or puppy pose here. Resting the forehead down on a block or the chin on the mat. Relax into the chest and the shoulders and the upper back here. We're pressing lightly into the tops of the feet and the shins. Hips stay nice and high. And imagine, visualize something heavy in between the shoulder blades. And then bringing the head up, looking along towards the thumbs, and then just gently sliding your way all the way onto your belly into prone. Bringing the hips down, the pubic bone rests, the belly relaxes, big toes come together. And just let those heels fall out to the side of your mat, so that you can then relax into the lower back, the waist, and the hips. So let's just come into a Sphinx pose from here, widening the feet if you need a little bit more space for the back. Arms come out in front of you. And again, only go as far or as high as you need to. So dropping pubic bone, dropping hips. Maybe the arms are just a little in front of the body, or the elbows are underneath the shoulders, but the shoulders are relaxing and away from the ears. You lengthen up through the neck and the throat. That's beautiful. Really, really nice. Sphinx is here. So exhale through the lower part of the body. Inhale through the upper part. Some feeling of rooting and rising. The rising is on your inhale, lifting out of the chest. Exhaling is your rooting, grounding through the hips and the legs. Try not to let the chest sink towards the mat. Keep it lifted and open. And to do that, you just push away through the forearms into the mat. Nice and slowly, breathe in, and then exhale, widen the elbows as you roll the belly and the rib cage down, the chest comes down, the head comes to the back of the hands, big toes come together once more, heels fall out. Notice when you do that, what happens to the pelvis and the hips there. Gives you a bit more space in the lower back. Give yourself that little wiggle, Shimmy those hips from right to left. And we're going to take our right leg out to the side of us. So sliding it along the mat. If you can, just bring the knee in line with your hip. And then you've got a 90-degree bend at the back of your knee. And then you're flexing gently into that right foot. Half frog, you're going to drop through that right hip as much as you can here. Soften out through the glute. All of those muscles are disengaging. Yin Yoga is the yoga of the joints and of connective tissue. We want to go deeper. So if you like, you can stay here for the next minute. You can reach your right arm forward just a little bit and slide your left arm underneath you. So your left arm is palm face up underneath the chest, hopefully not near the throat. The throat is clear. And you're trying to drop the right shoulder just as much as the left is down as well. If you took the option of threading the arm through, bring the right arm back, press into the right hand to lift the body up, and release that left arm by the side of your body. So you're going to place your head onto the back of your right hand, and the left arm goes down the side of your mat, palms face up. Nice and slowly, bring the right leg back and come back into neutral, big toes touch. Exhale, let the hips relax. Give the hips a little shimmy and a shake. Let's take the left leg out. So again, slide it out nice and gently, trying to get that knee in line with your hip. 90-degree bend at the back of the knee, and you're gently flexing into that left foot. Stay here for a moment, dropping into the left hip flexors, relaxing through the glutes. Noticing any differences on the other side. This is the first posture that we've done on the right and the left. You can, of course, stay here, or you might like to reach that left arm forward slightly, lift yourself up, and slide the right underneath you. Oh, a little bit tighter this side, for me anyway. So exhale. Let that release happen by gravity, not any force. You're trying to drop the left shoulder down whilst feeling any release in the right outer arm. Right, gosh, what are they called? Can't even remember the muscles. We are rolling down that left armpit. Breathing in, lifting up. If you took the threading the arm through, bring the left back. Release the right arm by the side of the body. Place the head on your left hand. And then gently bring that left leg back. And both hands underneath the forehead. Big toes touch. Sway out through the hips. Give yourself a little wiggle room. And then whilst you're there, just take the hands out to the side. And this is just a circle up through the shoulders, just to release any tension there. So you don't have to come too high. You can move one shoulder left and right. What feels good, really, to release out that stretch of threading the needle with the half frog. Nice and slowly, you're going to press yourself back into tabletop. Let's come back into that cat and cow. Maybe you might have a little bit more mobility through the spine. Each and every vertebra moves after the other. And then let's come into a dragon from here. Gosh, we haven't done a dragon, I think, for a while. So using your blocks, using your bolster if you need to. The bolster can slide underneath the back thigh, and you basically rest your back leg on that bolster. So you're going like this. And using the blocks to fill space. If the hands aren't quite meeting the mat, remember you've got 3 different heights for those blocks, and maybe you don't need them. Maybe you don't need the bolster. I like to give you all of the options so that you find the best that works for you. The foot might be facing forward, the toes might be facing outwards, but just think about the alignment of the knee to the ankle. So try and get this stacking on top of one another. So the ankle's not too far back, and then you're compressing into the ankle quite a lot and compressing into the knee. That's it. So we're exhaling. Again, gravity pulls down our hips towards the earth, softening through the glutes. You can stay upright. Maybe you want to go deeper. Maybe you want to come down onto your forearms. That's okay. Maybe you do that with the use of the blocks as well. Remember, fill space. trying to stabilize across the pelvis. So the left hip is not dropping any more than the right. Looking good from here. That's it. Again, we're not fighting the posture. We're flowing with it. There's no resistance. We're enjoying the process of this nice hold, this nice stretch. Notice where you feel the sensations in the body. I did a lot of sitting on Saturday, so I really felt it in my hips and in my lower back, and there are postures that can help relieve all of that out if you sit a lot during the day. Good. And we're just going to introduce a little bit of a twist here. So if you are using the blocks, you can come onto the hand or the forearm, but we're going to turn that hand about 45 degrees in, and we're gently going to twist towards that front right thigh. Now maybe you place your right hand on that knee, give it a little press out, opening up the chest. That's beautiful. Really nice twists there. So we're just pressing away from the mat on that left arm. Again, soften out through the glutes. Try not to find the tension there. Don't find the tension in your face either. Give yourself a big smile. That's it. We're not there for too long. Just want an extra little stretch in that nice twist. Bring the hand back to the floor or to the blocks. Take time to come out of the pose. It's kind of like a rebound, but not a fast one. Pull the hip back. Maybe you like to just stretch out the front leg a little bit. Release into the hamstrings. And just notice as you come out how that feels. It's all about the feeling during and after. Where do you feel the afterglow? Bring that right leg back. Let's change sides. Using the blocks, bolsters as you need to as you move to the other side. Good. Again, making sure that that left ankle tracks nicely underneath the front left knee. You can turn those toes out or they can be straight ahead. Dropping through the hips nice and steady. Let gravity take you deeper into the posture without you forcing it. Good. Using the hands on one or two blocks, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. And again, when you feel happy there, you might wish to go a little bit lower, a little bit deeper onto the forearms. Right hip isn't dropping any more than the left. So what I would say is probably slide that bolster underneath your right thigh a little bit more rather than the groin area. So let the groin area come free and take the bolster back to your right thigh. I'll just show you here. So about there. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So the groin area and the hips and the pelvis are still nice and free. That's it. Just a few more breaths here. Exhaling, letting those hips release more. And then maybe you start to turn the forearm onto a 45 degree Or if you're on the hand and using that left hand on the left knee, you start to open out the chest to the left side of your body, twisting towards your left thigh. Open the chest a little bit more to the sky. Keep dropping hips. Beautiful. Really nice. Relax through that left glute. That might be the target area. It might be the right hip flexor. Might be the right quad. Wherever it feels the most for you, relax. Bring yourself back. And again, take your time to come out. There's never any rush. Exhale for that little hamstring and back stretch. And then sweeping left leg back to tabletop. Good. Circle the hips out. Just release them one way and the other. How are we feeling? Good. Okay, so we are going to pull ourselves back to the back of our mats. And we are just going to tuck the toes there and then just lift ourselves up, widen the feet out. Here is your Malasana squat. So again, you can sit on your block. Again, take time to get into this posture. So the block comes underneath your butt cheeks. Maybe the hands come in towards the heart center, but start to use those elbows as leverage against the knees. That's it. Nice. We're lengthening out the spine, keeping the chest really nice and open to the front of our mat. We're not caving in the shoulders, caving in the back. We're opening the collarbones and the chest. Good. Releasing those sit bones to the floor. That's it. Nice. Or just propping up on the block. Now you can relax here into the pelvic floor. We don't need to engage a Mula Bandha here. If we were working actively in a Malasana for Hatha, it would be slightly different feeling. Only here for one more minute. Feel everything that your body is sharing with you. Mine is sharing a lot right now. Release the hands. This is slow too. You're going to start to lift the hips. As the legs start to straighten up, heel toe them into parallel. If you've got your bolster handy, you might like to rest the head on your bolster, or you can simply come into a dangle. From there, you can bend the knees. Let the belly rest down over the thighs. And if you like, you can give yourself a little bit of lift there and go deeper as you release. Take hold of the elbows if you like. Or if the head's being supported by the block, let the arms just hang by the side of the bolster. Relax the head, the neck, the spine. Soften through the back of the legs. The legs don't have to be straight. They can have a nice soft bend in. Relax into the toes. Feel that the feet are grounding you here. And these slow, deep inhales and exhales. Give in just a little bit more. And then the hands come down. Just give yourself a little bit of a half lift here into the spine. So you lengthen the spine away, sit bones reach back. And then nice and slowly, we're going to bring the knees down. We're going to go sideways onto our mat, ready for our lovely frog pose, which we've already done the two halves of our frog. So we're going to come sideways on. I'm going to pull this back just a little bit because there we go. We've got our bolsters. Again, you can place your bolster out in front of you. Okay. And if you're on a hard surface, you might like to just fold those sides of your mat up. The knees go wide. Okay. We're aiming to get a nice 90-degree here. And the shins are parallel to the end of the mat. So from the side, it looks like this. Not kind of this. So our hips and our knees are above one another. We are sliding our knees outwards. And if that's really too much into the knees or the ankles, you can bring the big toes to touch, starting to push the hips back towards the toes. Okay, that's it. Yeah. And if you've got that bolster underneath you, then you can give all of your body weight into the bolster. Completely different. We are here for a number of minutes, so make sure you are comfortable. We are dropping into this one as much as we can here. Really give in to the posture. Now, you might notice that a lot of the postures in this sequence today have been postures that we've worked on throughout this month. So we have worked on our frog. Notice how that frog is feeling after the month of working with this peak pose. So where do we feel this? Where are your target areas? Maybe it's the inner groin, the inner thighs. Maybe you feel it in the top of the hamstrings. If you're feeling it in the knees and the ankles, then it's probably wise to start to come out of the pose. You might have gone a little bit too deep, or just bring those big toes to touch behind you and come back into a tadpole. Find the point of resistance and your edge in this pose to be able to hold and find stillness comfortably and easily, without effort. You're doing great. We're here for another minute. And let's just rock ourselves forward just a little bit. so that we can then bring our big toes to touch if they're not already touching. Then start to push the hips back towards the heels, and you can rest on your hands to lift yourself up, and then come all the way back. Oh, into kneeling. I certainly felt that in my inner groin there. Bring those knees together. And that should feel quite nice as you respond and come out. Whew. Take a moment before we go into our next posture. But that was definitely in my inner groin and in my inner thighs there. All right. So let us come into a shoelace pose or a cow face pose. And we're crossing over our left leg on top of our right leg. So this might look like all tied up in knots like a little pretzel, but you might be able to sit on your block. Now the block lifts you up, and that's going to make this posture a whole lot easier. If two legs crossed are too much, release the underneath leg and keep your top leg bent. So that's it. Perfect. So we're trying to release that left leg. Good. Now, if you feel comfortable to do so, we're going to start to take a fold over the legs. So if you take hold of your ankles and then releasing the body, letting the head soften down towards the knee, noticing where you feel that the stretch. Trying to ground through both sit bones, releasing the left sit bone. Making sure that the posture is equal. You're making sure that you're balanced on left and right sides. Where are we feeling this? Where are our target areas? That's it. Yeah, nice, Ali. Good, Dad. Lovely. Relax the head, neck, shoulders over that knee. Yeah. Again, it's a gravitational release into this one. We could sit there and we could fight it. Try and let go of the resistance, let go of the effort. Some things are worth fighting for. Shoelace pose, not so much. Breathe in, start to roll up through the spine. Maybe you feel that already that has already worked out both of the sit bones equally and they're both coming down to the ground. And then gently straighten out the legs in front of you, release into the knees. What this does is releases a whole load of energy and cellular activity through the legs because we're all kind of crossed up. So taking the other leg over, right leg over the top of the left. And again, if that is really not at all possible, extending the underneath leg and just having one bent. That's it. Good. We're trying to stack the knees on top of one another if you're choosing the double leg option. And then exhale, taking the hands lightly to the feet or to the ankles or shins. Relaxing the head down towards the knees. Softening through the right buttock this time. Really letting that right buttock drop down. Good. Noticing the differences as we've moved from right to left. So this also is the second posture, which we've moved from different sides. Most of the others are symmetrical. So we're going to let gravity do the work. Noticing if one side was a little bit easier or more challenging than the other. Relaxing that head down towards the knees, softening through the back of the neck, the upper back and the shoulders. Trying to drop the left shoulder just as much as the right. And trying to drop the right buttock just as much as the left. Those are where your opposites come. Almost there. Take a breath in. Out. Starting to roll up through the spine. Come up to seated all the way. Relaxing the shoulders, sitting tall. Hopefully both sit bones are dropped equally. Good. And then gently unravel those legs. Woo! Give the knees a little release. Feel all that energy traveling down now to the feet and up towards the hips. Good. We're going to come down onto our backs. So draw the knees in towards the chest. If you're a little bit hot for the moment, you might cool down as you come onto your back. So pop something warm on. Let's come back into that knees to chest. So maybe widening the knees just a touch. You're pulling the knees up towards the shoulders. Belly is free. Lengthening the tailbone down the mat. So the spine is really nice and flat. And that means that the pelvis softens and relaxes underneath you. Spreads out and the waist spreads out, the lower back releases, middle back, rib cage, shoulders, upper back. And then start to circle the knees out. And then you can circle the other way and then gently open out into the hips. Good. So we've been doing this posture a little bit through class last week, which was our revolved hand to big toe. So you might need a strap for this one, but you can do it without. We're going to draw our left knee in towards our chest. We extend our left leg straight up to the sky. Now give yourself a nice little stretch through the back of the leg here. Relax into the face, relax into the throat as you just relax into the back of that left leg. Now here, if you want to intensify the stretch, you can extend your right leg along the mat. Good. Don't fight it. Just go with it. We're going to take this leg across the body into a twist. So you can use your bolster to rest that leg on if you like. And that leg comes over and you open up the chest and the shoulder on your left side. So you're supporting the leg with your strap or your block or your hand. That's it. Lovely. Looking good. Now, give the belly freedom. So make sure the belly's not trapped behind that thigh. And then just let that leg become heavier and heavier and heavier. If you're really struggling with a straight leg, bend into that top leg knee so you can just come into a revolved twist from there. What I'd say is just bend that left knee. I'm hoping that gravity is really a friend in this one, and it is allowing that left leg to drop deeper towards the earth. You should be feeling a nice stretch around the lower back and the side of your body in this, but also a stretch down the piriformis, the glute of the left leg, the outer thigh, maybe inner thigh and groin here. You might be feeling a stretch in the inner thigh. Nice and slowly, we're going to roll back and we're going to keep that leg up in the air. And then when we get all the way onto our backs, we start to lower that left leg all the way down. Take a moment to rest fully. Good. You can bring the leg back, Dad. And lower it down. All the way. Lower, lower, lower. That's it. Great. Draw those knees in. Roll and massage out. Circle through the spine. You might have felt that in the lower back. Remember, it's a twist. So we have to be careful and easy with our bodies. I'm going to switch to the other side of my mat so that I can still see you. Drawing in, right knee this time. Keeping your left leg bent for a moment. Extending that right leg up towards the sky. You can always keep a bend into the back of the knee using the hands or the strap. Exhale, soften through the spine, soften through the back of that right leg. Now, if you want to intensify that stretch in that right leg, keep the right leg where it is, extend the left. Try and soften through the buttocks and the lower back here. Now we're going to take that leg across the body. So using the left hand, it guides that leg as you roll onto your left hip. Again, using a block or a bolster to support it, or it might just fall to the floor, and you can always bend that knee, letting the foot relax down on the floor. Let that foot relax down onto the bolster or the floor. That's it. Good. Now we're opening up the right chest, right shoulder. The underneath leg doesn't have to remain straight. It can soften out through the knee. Really get comfortable with the posture and let gravity take that leg deeper towards the earth. This is our last posture. The leg becomes heavier and heavier. We're going to slowly roll back into the center on an inhale breath. Roll back. Bring that leg all the way up to the sky. Let it just suspend there. And now letting go of the strap or your leg and lower it down all the way into Shavasana. Take a moment to feel that the legs seem longer. And then draw both knees in, roll and massage out through the spine. Opening out the knees, working into the hips. I'm really hoping that those hips and inner thighs and outer hips now feel a lot freer. Mine sure do. And let us come into final relaxation. So making sure that you're comfortable in Shavasana, you might like to use the bolster underneath the knees. So as you lie down, placing the bolster underneath the knees helps to release any tension in the lower back. Or you might have a block or a cushion underneath the head and the neck. Make sure you're warm. The body temperature drops significantly when we come into meditation or Shavasana. So using blankets, jumpers, and just get comfortable making those tiny final adjustments that you need to make. Concentration can feel elusive when it feels as if all the tabs in your brain are open. We live in an endless loop of information. Although this is convenient and awesome, it takes a toll on our nervous systems. To function at our highest capability, we need to take time for stillness. So now begin to shut down all of the tabs in your brain and connect to your true center. Let peace in. Let calm commence. And breathe in the stillness. I will let you know when it's time to come back around. Beginning to take a few deeper breaths as you bring your awareness back into your surroundings, onto the mat and back into the body. There is never any rush. So begin by deepening the breath, becoming more aware. When you awaken, wiggling fingers and toes, stretching and drawing the knees in. Return to this rolling out. Rolling over to one side when you feel ready to do so, and returning up to a comfortable seat. Sitting nice and tall, relaxing the shoulders, bringing the hands into the heart center. Soften through the facial expression just by turning up the corners of the mouth into a nice, gentle smile. Notice how you feel when you take your smile here. How much it lightens your mind. And remember that the words concentration, we can sometimes really let go of the tabs that are open in our brain and only focus on the present. And Yin Yoga really helps us to be more aware of the present moment. Always thanking yourself and your body for your practice. I thank you today.